Hi everyone, welcome to the second video of this channel, and today I'm going to talk about rebreathers. So many people have been asking that how is your device different from rebreathers? Or, we already have rebreathers, why don't we just use them? And I wanted to shed some light on that topic. So what is a rebreather? Well, rebreather is nothing else but just a over-engineered traditional scuba diving gear pretty much, because it still carries a tank, but instead of you having to carry multiple tanks, it claims to be able to extend your dive times and also give you the possibility to dive without emitting any bubbles. There are different needs for those applications, but the biggest one of them being that you can dive for a long, long time. And that's simply not true. If you look at any photos, after a while, people start needing much more than that 3 liter tank and start attaching different gas mix tanks on their back. And at the end, they have the same setup as with the scuba diving gear. Uh, so no improvement on that point. But the second point, which is the risk profiles, well, scuba diving gear at least has a risk profile, which is fairly simple. You just have the tank, which can fail due to missing O-ring or whatever, gas leakage basically, or the regulator freezing. So simple stuff which is easy to track. Whereas a rebreather starts adding these components that is super hard to track. So what is a rebreather? How is it built? Rebreather is just a scuba diving gear, has the tank, which is much smaller, and then it has a breathing loop. And within that breathing loop, there is a CO2 scrubber. And what happens is that you breathe the oxygen in, you breathe it out. Because you only consume 5% of the oxygen, the CO2 from your exhaled air gets pulled into the CO2 scrubber, and the oxygen gets recycled into the loop, allowing you to breathe that 3 liter tank for a really long time. Uh, that's about it. But what are the risks associated with this? Well, there are two different types of rebreathers. One is manual, one is electronic. With the manual one, you have to add the oxygen by yourself. So when you start running low on oxygen, you press the lever and it adds a little bit of oxygen from the tank into the loop. With the electronic one, there's a oxygen sensor which senses the level of oxygen within the breathing loop and sends a signal and adds it like electronically. So that can malfunction, but I will get to that. But another risk profile which is present like within both of those solutions is the CO2 scrubber. So the CO2 scrubber is a soda lime cartridge which is highly reactive with water, and you're actually underwater with that gear. And if any water goes into that CO2 cartridge, it will react and emit really dangerous fumes that will burn your lungs, literally. And you will not notice it until it's too late, causing you to have lifelong problems with your lungs. Probably you're going to resurface super fast, have a decompression sickness, and multiple different issues associated with that. Uh, so another risk profile also to the CO2 scrubber is that sometimes it malfunctions and doesn't actually scrub off the CO2, and leaving you with the CO2 built up within the loop, causing you to pass out underwater. Uh, that's just a CO2 scrubber, and you cannot really do anything about it. You cannot just have multiple ones of those, plug one out if it fails. You cannot even touch them underwater. They're under this hooded compartment that cannot be opened. So it's a really risky thing. So back to the different types of methods of adding the oxygen. Well, the manual lever has a problem because you're manually adding the oxygen. If you add too much, you get oxygen toxicity, because most of the traditional rebreathers operate on pure oxygen. Uh, so you have to be really careful about how much oxygen you add. With electronic ones, you're relying on a battery powered system. The battery that powers the electronics is underwater, submerged with you. If it runs out of power or some water leaks in there, you're done. You are not having any oxygen added to your loop, causing a CO2 built up, causing you to pass out. Or, on the other hand, causing the device to malfunction, adding too much oxygen, causing you to die because of oxygen toxicity. So people come up with these questions that, oh, you're adding these electronic devices underwater to electrolyze the water itself. You have oxygen and hydrogen, a highly explosive gas mix, and we already have rebreathers, so what's the point? Well, I wanted to finish the rebreather topic by saying that, by the way, people pay premium price to have these rebreathers, so they're way more expensive than traditional diving gear, just to have the features of diving longer and not having any bubbles. Well, our device, first of all, is much smaller uh, and safer. So our device can actually be triple redundant, like it has 3 sets of electrolyzers. If one of them fails, 2 others still produce enough oxygen and hydrogen so you can breathe safely. Second of all, hydrogen cuts the decompression stops in half. Third of all, at least we're focused in our engineering to make sure that the underwater electrical technology is water resistant, whereas the other manufacturers focus on broad topics like CO2 scrubbing, etc. So the amount of time put into engineering the water resistivity of the device is not that big. Uh, I think we're the market leaders in that. And just generally, the gas mixes. I mean, hydrogen is a far more superior gas than helium or nitrogen and oxygen mix. Helium, first of all, is a rare earth gas. It's not sustainable long term. You want to pay more to have it, great, but people are going to run out of it. Second of all, pure oxygen is a big issue. You get oxygen toxicity once you go below 6 meters. Well, our device splits the water into oxygen and hydrogen, and with the ratio that the normal water molecule has 2 of those atoms, allows you to dive to 40 meters of depth. I think that's amazing. Most of the dives happen at 40 meters. I don't think these questions about, oh, can you dive to 500 meters? How is your power density to achieve that? Well, I don't think that many people need to dive that deep. And if they need, you'll be sure that if we focus on this technology, then in a few years we'll have that tech. I think our device is far more safer and superior. I mean, you don't have any CO2 scrubbers in our device. You can always recharge the batteries. You get stranded, you don't have to worry about not having the gas to get out from there. You always have power for your GPS devices, for even your phone. I mean, anything. But these traditional things, as people call them, safer, are actually not that safe when you compare the risk profiles. Our device focuses on one technology and making that one technology super safe and scalable, whereas the other technologies are constrained within the small little playground and trying to over-engineer the mechanisms around it to last longer while just getting the more adverse effects than benefits, like associated with CO2 scrubbing. So that's about it. I hope that this video gave you some insight about the rebreathers, and ask more great questions. See you in the next video. Thanks, guys.